pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're once again visiting the lands between and reliving some of the most awe-inspiring and disturbing moments in Elden Ring. Prepare for all of the spoilers.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Caria Manor. While seemingly untended and abandoned, Caria Manor still held a certain elegance about it, assuming you could get past the barrage of magic missiles guarding the front entrance. And that's when we realised we had just stepped into a house of horrors. And yes, it is entirely due to the finger creepers. These giant sentient hands flicker across the field like spiders, and the fact we had to deal with so many was almost more than we could bear. Sellen's fate.
Then you have seen Master Azure. Master Azure was a founding glintstone sorcerer, and my first teacher.
Should you happen to take a liking to Sorceress Sellen, and why wouldn't you? She's essential for those who want to snag stronger spells. Then her questline is going to take you all across the lands between, hunting down rare items, reclaiming her body, all in the hope of freeing her from scrutiny and allowing her to continue her studies.
I obtained the glintstone key I gave you from a Sellian sorcerer. It wouldn't be too much of a leap to suppose he's still cooped up nearby.
This turns out to be a fatal decision on her part, as delving into the limits of magic leaves the once beguiling teacher as a misshapen monstrosity known as a school of graven mages. That's unfortunate. City of Ash.
I knew you'd come to stand before the Elden Ring, to become Elden Lord. What a sad state of affairs.
The results of Melina setting fire to the Erg Tree by sacrificing herself weren't only the tears of many a tarnished who lamented her loss. The fallout also submerged the golden capital of Leyndell in ashes. It's a harrowing sight, with the environment now completely shifted. It certainly paints an eerie picture as to the weight of what has been forfeit to afford one chance to become Elden Lord. We're guessing for those that were buried under a sea of ash, the weight was a tad too heavy to bear. Bear witness. What better indication that the second phases of Elden Ring's bosses were going to be bonkers than watching a multi-limbed monster chop off one of his arms with an axe, stuff it into a dragon's head, and bring it back to life to use as his own personal flamethrower. Godrick may be a lot of things, none of them good, but we have to give him credit for being such a showman. This was such a gnarly display that we're pretty sure his forefathers were, at the very least, taking notice.
I am the Lord of all that is.
The end of Blaidd.
The name's Blaidd. I'm looking for a man who goes by Darrowell. He fled somewhere nearby.
Ranni's questline is rightly touted as the best in the game. It's rich with lore, leads to the most satisfying ending, has the best Souls waifu of the bunch, and introduces some fun NPCs to interact with. Chief among them being Blaidd the Half-Wolf, your fluffy bro in arms. You'd think after assisting Ranni with her plans to create the Age of Stars, things would be peachy.
I need to check the mistress is safe. Now, Ranni can finally set in motion the fight against her fate she's dreamed of for so long.
However, should you return to Renna's Rise, you'll find Blaidd there, gone feral due to his mind being broken by the two fingers over his conflicting loyalty, forcing you to put down the best boy yourself. Enter the Lichdragon. It started with a hug, and somehow ended with us fighting an undead dragon inside of a dream, because of course it did. Fia's questline is all about death, and those who live within it. Should you fulfill what she asks and bring both curse marks of death to her, you'll not only earn yourself a second embrace, but also an unexpected boss fight. Lichdragon Fortisax is no joke, but if you want that bleak ending and, more importantly, to make Fia happy, you're gonna have to duke it out. Rykard's true form. After dealing with the craziness found in Volcano Manor alone, you'd think we'd be prepared for whatever the game threw at us next. And then we met Rykard. First appearing as the world-devouring serpent, the boss fight, while hectic, is still just a giant snake, a FromSoft staple. Then the second phase starts, and that's when things get weird.
Together we will devour the very god.
Turns out Rykard was using the snake's body as a host, with both his limbs and weapon lurking inside it. Pair his unsettling appearance with a haunting voice, and you have the very image of nightmare fuel. Margit is alive.
In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
While each of the demigods made a lasting impression in their own way, there's only one that received a grandiose encore. After initially killing him early on during the game's first act, Margit appears once again before we can enter the Erdtree. It's there he reveals himself as Morgott, who, while deformed due to the Omen curse, is still very much a son of Marika, with the divine strength to prove it. As the Omen King, not only does he show himself to be one of the toughest bosses in the Pantheon, but paints himself as one of its most tragic figures. The Fire Giant. In hindsight, we should have probably known an area known as the Mountaintop of the Giants would be host to the last of its kind. But even then, nothing could have prepared us for how epic and intimidating this red-bearded beast truly was. Its design, the size and scale, all of it immense, and that's before it gets mad and starts to conjure ancient fire magic. And just in case you still weren't impressed, its second phase reveals that it's got another face inside its torso. Miyazaki never fails to amaze and confound. Radagon is Marika. Elden Ring's ultimate twist. Whether you solved the mystery by pursuing Goldmask's questline, or waited right up until the final battle, the fact that Queen Marika and her consort Radagon are one and the same person is a rug pull that no one could have predicted. You barely get a moment to contemplate how that's even possible, given that the two have children together, before the boss battle kicks off with Radagon going full hammer time. It's stuck with us to this day, further deepening the mystery, depravity, and intrigue surrounding Marika's royal lineage. Which Elden Ring moment still lingers with you? Let us know in the comments.
thank you for guiding me here. The one who walks alongside flame.